Hello, 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 hello from Canada. I'm here in Toronto, welcoming everyone to another episode of Vitruveo Download. And we have a special guest here today, Nelio. That's great to have you. How are you?
Hi for all. Hi Nick. Hi Mike. And hi for all the audience.
That's great. So Nelio, you're the featured guest today. We'll get to you in just a moment. Let's talk first to Mike and see what's going on stateside. Stateside, I'm so far away. I'm making my way back slowly from India. I stopped in DC. Now I'm in Toronto. Next stop, California. How is it
It's
there?
crazy. Everything is good. Everything is good. I think we're just anxious to get you back on the West Coast and back to a normal schedule. I can't imagine what your sleep schedule has been like over the past week. Not to mention all the travel complexities you've had, but yeah, I mean, everybody's I think really been excited for today. I know we have a lot of information to kind of go over, so let's dive into it.
Yeah, I must say that this strategy of spending of basically a week on the East Coast is actually good for jet lag because by the time I get back to California, I won't become, I will have kind of adjusted a little bit. So what I'm going to do here is put up our screen, just do our intro, and then we'll get going with you, Nelly. Nelly, I'm going to drop you for just a moment. All right. All right, so folks, welcome to season 4, episode 8 of the Vitruveo download. Today is August 23rd, 2024. I'm Nick Kalyani, founder and CEO, and with me is Mike Purdy, COO, at the Vitruveo download every week, every Friday at 10 a.m. PST, 5 p.m. UTC. We review the events of the prior week and then give you some insights into what's coming up the next week. I must confess that the link there currently will not work. The I in my rush to get ready for this, I did not finish doing the tiny URL, but I'll make it a point to get it done right after the session is done, so it will be live, so you can note it. But we'll get to it right away. All right. So the first order of business today is our guest, as you saw. It's DevOps. That's what we're going to talk about. So let me bring Nelio back here and get my screen out of the way. Let's talk a little bit, Nelio. How are things in Brazil right now?
Wow. The things is coming good because right now in the last weeks we passed a lot of natural disasters here, but it's all okay right now. And in the last 3 weeks, Nikki, let me say that, man, we are working a lot about that DevOps part because the Vitruvio project have a lot of things in DevOps because when we start to do the things. And first of all, for always listening me, please sorry about my English because my English is not a good, but I will do my best to communicate with all of you. And if someone doesn't understand something, please write, and I will do my best to repeat in a different words or do in a different way. But in the last 3 weeks, Nick, when we start with the DevOps, we start a large setup because uh, it's not only about the blockchain. The blockchain, it's one of the projects, and the blockchain project is divided in many small parts, and not only that, have an entire ecosystem around that. And this is amazing, man. And we are like a child seeing a new world and working on that new world. It's so amazing.
Yeah, and I guess you're coming. You are an expert. I would say beyond expert in terms of DevOps for Web 2 things. And really, the only elements that you've had to learn is what is this Web 3 specific things. But it turns out that even the Web 3 specific backend things are really not any different from Web 2, right? It's run a script, run an executable, command line parameters, shell scripts, etc. Is that true? Is that what you're finding?
Yes and no, and let me explain why. Because when we are working in a web 2, most of the companies doesn't have that level of complexity. Because when you work with peoples around the world, you have a lot of different things coming to your server. It's not about a one IP, two IPs, or one attacker, because sometimes it's not sometimes it's not a question of a hacker attacking the network. It's not about that. Sometimes one developer do a wrong thing in the system, and that unique wrong thing comes to another peers, and this making a lot of things happening at the same time. It's so incredible the level of things we need to do to solve that kind of things in a normal company. This kind of thing doesn't happen. And when you post something in Discord, for example, a lot of new connections comes to all the servers, and we need to start to monitoring all the things in a real time, because you made one comment or something new in the Twitter. Now it's X network. And if something happens, a lot of traffic initiates immediately, and these make the things a little incredible.
Yeah, that's great. So let's talk a little bit about specifics. I want to talk a little bit about the specific components that you're working with. Can you give us some insights on that?
Yes, for sure. I prepared one small image for share with your audience to explain about some parts of that infrastructure, because I think it's more easy to understand about what we are talking about.
So is that
Because
time to bring up your chart now? Is it good?
please,
All
please,
right,
please.
here we go.
The blockchain is divided in two main blocks, because we have the testnet and the mainnet. And inside of each of that networks, because it's like two networks, we have a lot of servers and a lot of services running on that. Some of that services is easy, like GAF. GAF is the base of all that things and the base of the network. But it's not a concent- concentrated, it's not in the same point, because part, for example, the boot nodes, it's not at the boot nodes. The boot nodes is inside the Vitruveo, but you have near 40 hundreds of validators right now, I believe.
380, yeah.
It's a lot of validators for do a small thing inside that network. It's near to impossible, including for us. It's when we thinking to change one IP, we need to thinking, whoa, it it's unbelievable, the how big the thing is, because the ecosystem is bigger. And uh, we have the blockchain and we have the studio. The studio, I represented that as one unique environment. All that things is environment. Inside of each that environment have a lot of servers, and we start our working concentrated to the test net. And why? Because in the test net we can test the things, and we are rebuilding the entirely test net ecosystem first. And what we are doing right now, we are creating not only about the availability and scalability and all that things. Our main objective is to permit for all developers, all partners can test their things in the test net before comes to the mainnet. In that way, some of right now it's like attackers, it's not attackers. You can test your application in the test net, and when you are ready, you can deploy that application, you can roll out that application to the mainnet. This is our major thing. And we are preparing something special for the community. For example, you asked us, and I need to say that it's a huge challenge to do that, to deploy a new version of Block Scout. Block Scout is the service where you can explore the blocks of the blockchain and the see the transactions and all notations. And this is amazing. Right now, we are working exactly on that point to deploy the new versions of that software to finish the test net. But we are starting to shut down the old servers. And in more a few minutes in front, I will show our monitoring system showing all that things running, and for all people's understand how big is this work, because um, have an unbelievable amount of transactions per second. I know we not it's not possible for us to share some specific information, but in the end, for the people continue with us until the end, I will show the screen showing all the RPC transactions running, and it's amazing because you can't see how number of transactions happens by second. It your screen, it's not a the screens comes and not stop. This is I believe this is the greatest point of that blockchain. Right now, all green points are done. We are working on that yellow point right now. After we finish all that things, we start to do the same and roll out all that solution for the mainnet. And in the studio, we have one important thing is the monitoring, and that monitoring is right now monitoring the entire ecosystem. And we receive reports for all parts in a real time, and we can react online for all that things. Most of the reactions is done by a robot. We use a market solution called Zabbix, and that solution make the first points to correct, to fix the problems automatically in the network.
Is that something we can take a look at? Is that something you're able to show us?
Yeah, I will show that in a more few minutes. That screen, it's the Zabbix, and for we understand right now here, it's not the full solution, it's the part of the solution here, because we are starting to put the test net and each of that networks. This is our data center on Oregon, and that is the old servers for the testnet. And as you can see here, part of that nodes have an unbelievable CPU utilizations and use a lot of hardware things.
So
The,
Nelly, just one second. As far as I can see, and all the people here, it's just a bunch of numbers here. Walk us through one of these rows. What are we looking at here?
Okay, we divided the environments by region,
Okay.
and we have in some regions like Virginia, we have the studio. In the California, we have the mainnet. In the Oregon, we have the testnet, and the testnet is divided in two environments. But when we think in that way, you can't see these pairs as we have right now, because the blockchain is not a concentrated only in the Vitruveo. It's important to understand this is part of the servers. All validators have the same information around the world. Because of that, we can put all that things in a region, but we knows nothing happens bad, because all around the world have a replica of all data and all that things, including, and most important, the studio data. Because different from any other blockchain, in the Vitruveo, all consign is inside the blockchain. Because of that, all that data is replicated around the world, different of any other web 2, or better, have a lot of web 3 fake networks, because have part in web 3 and most of them is in web 2. Vitruveo is different on that. All the data is in web 3. It's not a fake. it's real. It's different. That makes the things different. And right now, when you see the new servers and what we are right now doing in the testnet, as you can see, we have the CPU idle time 99.90, near 99.90. It's available. It's not in use of the CPU. The new environment have a lot of resource free. And why? Because this is the network for the developers do all that tests, all that things. If some developer do something wrong, we can correct that, and that things does not affect any other parts of the network. And we have a lot of resource available on all of our servers here. And as you can see, we have the old servers. The old servers is having problems in some point. Because of that, we start that revision process to refactor and do all that things. But most of them like that RPC 1, 2, and 3 today is the last day of life of that servers, because today we retired that servers because he accomplished, it's accomplished, I don't know if the
Yeah, yeah,
properly word,
yeah.
their works.
Okay.
All the works of that servers needs to be done. It's done. Now it's
Great.
time to retire that servers. And it's a amazing retire for that servers. And now these three servers is doing the same thing, but as you can see, have a lot more resources. And all that resources, it's available for the test net.
Yeah.
The main net, it's more huge.
Yeah.
It's a little more, it's not a little, it's a big more robust than that network.
That- Awesome. So basically what we are looking at here is the monitoring screen, right? So if something goes wrong with one of these servers, what happens?
For example, right now, and I will do that because it's the test net. It's important to remember what I will show right now is for anyone in the audience can test and see what we are showing that screen. It's real, okay? But I will not do that more times than that. I will show right now because it's alive and we need to show that. But I will stop the test explorer. If anyone right now try to access the test-explorer.vitruveo.xyz, all of you can access the test right now. After what I will do right now, let me check that if I can put that in a properly way. Test. Okay. As you are seeing, I'm open the test net right now. What I will do, I will stop right now that interface for we will see in our monitoring system what's happening. Okay. A second, I'm stopping. Okay. Right now, anyone in the audience, we will see we have stopped and we have that error right now. Okay. Because of that, if we goes to our Zabbix, we will see on the test node 1, for example, is showing for us not have any errors on that, okay? But each minute, we are testing that. Look at graphics.
Mm.
This is before our meeting right now. I need to test to show that for the audience and say, okay, always comes good and always show properly. Right now, we stop it in 1 minute. We will see that graphics show for us in the number 1. It's an error. And in the Zabbix, we will see what the error is happening. And our team in Brazil, we right now, look at that. This is the graphics showing we have an error. And the DevOps team in Brazil received a message on Discord saying what server having that problem. And what problem is happening? Let me show for you how we know that problem and what is the message you will receive. As you can see here, the test node 1 have one problem. What is the problem? Could not connect to. As you see here, this is the message. I can see the last value, and the last value will show for us the properly message. It's here. And what I will do right now, I will restart the server because it's not a good to maintain the things
Yeah.
down for so much time.
Nelio, I cannot tell you how grateful I am for this, because do you know who has had to wake up at 1, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning being pinged? Hey, gateway is
Yeah.
down. Yours
And
truly. I've had to restart all these services, and I'm so glad to have automation on this. It is really, really good.
right now, Nick, for I show for you that I need to disable our robot to restart the server, because if I maintain that server with the robot, probably will have problem because the server will restart the service automatically. I need
Mm,
to stop that robot for show that demo, and in a few seconds, as you see, in more a few seconds, because we have an threshold, the word I don't know.
yes,
We
it's
have
correct.
a 6 second between each of that checks, and right now, as you see, comes up the number 0 comes again to here, and we face it on downtime with that size. We can see the size of that downtime when we started and when we finish, in exactly moment that things happen. And this, it's not a working only for the test net. Right now we are monitoring the main net, and we are monitoring the major of the studio apis and services. Most of the studio, it's, I don't know, I will not say that it's impossible to break, because this does not exist, but a studio have a totally different uh, scenarios, and it's near to impossible to goes down, because we are using the AWS resources, and it's not infinite, but it's more than it's possible to shut down.
Yeah. So Nelio, we talked, and I think the community is really interested in this. We talked about having status.vitruveo.xyz, which is a standalone page which has a green, yellow, red for all major applications and services. So that's something that is in the works, right? We're going to build that out.
Yeah, exactly. All maintenance and all that things, anyone can s- open the page in a public information, and we'll see we are in maintenance. If yes, where, for how much time, the root cause of that, and all that things, who is working on that. And when finish that solution, you will see again the lights, green, red, and yellow, showing for us the properly status of each of that services. We are working on that panel, and we are going to do that panel for the test net and the main net. Studio, it's near to have that, but it's not a public, because have a lot of more info, but we will put in public most of them. For example, the store, because the store, it's uh, amazing part of the software. Anyone can have their store and show their art. Store, search, and the studio admin panel, where the artists and the creators put their artwork. We are going to monitoring and show that public. Have around, well, let me say, have more than 30 services on that part. We are going to public 4 or 5 of that services, but have a lot of services and the infrastructure
That's
inside
great.
here. Here have so much more infrastructure, so much more, but it's more easy to manage because most of that parts right now is automatically. We have put that automatically.
That's great. Nelio, thank you. This is fantastic. It's a good overview. We've been talking about DevOps and reliability for a few weeks now because we've been challenged. Things services didn't go weren't reliable, etc. And I'm very happy with the progress. I know it's not like a light switch. You can just get everything done in a day. We are gradually moving forward to the point where we have 99 five nines. Five nines is what we are
Yeah.
going for. Five nines in the industry is 99.999% uptime. That's what when we talk about five nines. So Nelio, just before I let you go, I want to talk to you about a future topic. So in the industry right now, in Web3 in particular, there have been many marketplaces that are shutting down. They're just going out of business. And what artists are finding very quickly is that if you don't pay the IPFS bill, your artwork is gone. Now we are also using IPFS right now, but we have a plan of having potentially two plans. One is either mirror IPFS with every validator, so every node that's running it is also running IPFS, or potentially change our protocol so we can have some of the digital assets in the blockchain itself. The problem there being, of course, the size of it, because we have 500 gigabyte
Yeah, yeah.
files, etc. Right? So maybe if I could ask you to come back again, maybe next month, and we can talk a little bit about that, because I think more and more artists are starting to realize right now how brittle the existing marketplaces and all that are, where you don't pay your IPFS bill, your work is gone. And with Vitruveo, we don't want that. We want to be 100% robust.
Yeah, and Nikki, you touching an important point for the IPFS. Some artists, for example, I see one beautiful art. I believe in the last week, one artist created an painting with a lot of other small arts as a
Mosaics,
pixel.
yes, yeah,
Yes,
yeah, yeah.
but I mean, have 4 gigabytes because it's an amazing, incredible mosaic. It's beautiful. It's amazing. But imagine that this is one artist. We have a lot of that files, and each of that art have different presentations and have different videos to show the behind of the scenes and all that things. And this telling a history about that creation. And it's not a question of only storage that things and show for the who is buying that thing. It's about the history of that blockchain has built. You The foundation of the Vitruveo. The Vitruveo is storing something in the next years for a long time. If anyone wants to understand what we are living as world right now, you can see what is the arts have in that part of the time, in that decade. What is the arts we have?
Yeah.
Because when we comes back to 100 years ago, 200 years ago, and we see all that arts, we can understand the culture, we can understand the economics and all that things. What Vitruvio is doing, I know it's about the today and buying things and do all that things, but this have one important thing for the humanity, for the community, for the cultural aspect. And what you are doing with that IPFS cost a lot of money. And what Vitruvio is doing for all that artists, storing that things in that way and in that robust way we are doing that, have a great value. These have value. And I don't know, so much about the economics in the Web3. I don't understand the things in details, but when I see the how much money is expended in that infrastructure for make the artists can sell their arts and can show their creation for other people, have a lot of things involved, have team, infrastructure, machines, network, and effort. And
Yeah, I think
this is amazing.
for most artists, they are not technical, right? So they don't realize that, as first of all, we are not a marketplace, but if to compare our consignment process, we are 6 times the data storage requirements of others, because we have an original, we have a preview, we have a BTS, we have an exhibition, we have a 4K display, and we also have code files for when we are going to activate generative art, etc. So our storage requirements are 6x the other marketplaces. And
And more than that, because you have the replication,
yes,
all that replication for one art have two, have three, and if you have six, you have 18 times that the same art in storage.
yeah, and what you're talking
And
about replication there is we use CloudFront to make sure that the artwork, etc., is nearest to people. So people in Asia, people in Europe, etc., have those files already on servers deployed there. Yeah, so there's a lot going on behind the scenes, folks, that we don't talk about too much. But Studio is a massive endeavor. I think people just see the UI, and what we struggled very hard to do is make the UI dead simple, really
and,
simple. But behind the scenes, there's very complex.
and Nikki, to finish that, and because I don't want to use a lot of time, but I work with technology for many years. For me, looking for an artist needs to do that by themselves, or doing that without an infrastructure like that cost a lot of money, because you need to do on site, you need to publish, you need to do all the market things, you need to think about if someone attack your art, try to get that data, how to replicate that, and how make that securely for someone buy. Because when someone buy, the person is buying want to have the guarantee can access that. It's important, because if I buy something, I need to know that thing it's available for me for the rest of my life.
Yes.
And this make the things different. And this is what Vitruveo do for all that people, and this cost money. And I would say that, Nikki, for us is a pleasure to work on that, because that project is for the community. This is for the community. This is nice.
Absolutely, we are a community-led blockchain, and we are obsessed with making sure that creators have a stable income. So Nelio, once again, thank you so much for coming. You're always welcome here. It's a treat to have you. We appreciate everything you're doing, everything your team is doing. Your team is just doing amazing work on Studio, on the DevOps, etc. And couldn't be happier to chat with you. So please do come back next month. We'll chat again. And thank you
Yes.
so much for taking the time here. Let's
Thank you.
have a good weekend, and we'll go back to the rest of the download now.
Good weekend for all, and thank you, Nikki. Bye bye.
Thank you very much, Nelio. Bye bye. All right, let's get back now. We'll that was great. I just love chatting with Nelio, and you have some Brazilian phrases, Mike. Yeah, so
Yeah, I do. I
that's
know a
great.
few Brazilians, and they're amazing people. They really are. The culture is incredible. They're very hospitable. They're very joyful and passionate, and yeah, Nelio's great, super great.
Absolutely. Yeah, I look forward to visiting Sao Paulo. That should be my next destination. I really want to meet the team, because we
Yeah,
talk
that would be
we talk
awesome.
daily. We talk daily multiple times a day, and it would be nice to actually be see them IRL. All right, let's continue here with Vibe. So what do we got to talk about? Airdrop staking. That's the big news of the day. So last week we said that we would work through and get the import completed. Well, that is in fact completed. So all the data has been moved from the old stake contract into a new core stake contract, and scope has also been updated. So let's just quickly take a look at that. So here is my scope, and one of the first things you'll see is that scope menus have also changed a little bit. So we are moving towards significant upgrades on scope, including bringing in things like calculators, dashboards, etc. So we're working on that. We've got the wireframes going, etc. But this is the first step in it. So what you'll see here is new information in smart contracts. You'll see that there's a core stake contract now. So if you go and look at the activity on that contract, you will see that all your data has been imported. Now, specifically, if you go to the staking page now, you'll see that that's changed. It's not, we don't have a quota yet. We're going to put 10K here, but not yet. But what you should be able to see, if you had anything staked to the airdrop, you should see a balance here. Now that balance might not be congruent with what you have in your mind, and the reason is because that balance is real-time computation of partial rewards. So depending on where you are in your cycle, whether it's 60 days, 120 days, 150 days, 180 days, whatever it is, it'll take your balance, and also it aggregates all your stakes. So you might have different stakes, etc., and it computes the rewards for each one, and that turned out to be a massive pain, but it's done now, so it's good. So this is now ready and active. That was phase 1, or step 1, if you will. And now let's look at what we're going to do for step 2. So before I go there, there's one new feature I want to talk about real quick. Should have talked about that on this screen. Let me go back. So as you know, we are in the process of launching also a general and a creator equity pool. These are coming soon because they are not yet ready. The UI is there, but the backend is not fully ready. But we thought it would be kind of cool if the 10,000 run out right away, which we presume they will, given how many. There's basically 2 million staked Vitru and 10,000 Vibe, right? So that should pretty much be gone pretty quickly. But what we wanted to do is add this new feature, give the option for those of you who want it to convert your staked Vitru into general equity pool also. So as you know, the general equity pool is essentially a 40,000 pool of Vibe, where you have a pro rata share depending on how many Vibe how many Vitru you deposit. So we're gonna add the feature where if you want to, yes, you can certainly stake your Vitru or you can swap it, but you will also be able to basically port your stake Vitru into this general equity pool and therefore have a share of Vibe, right? So that's entirely optional, entirely up to you, but it's a feature we'll make available to you. All right, so based on everything that's been deployed and tested, we are confident in saying that tomorrow, August 24th at 7 a.m. PST, notice how I cleverly changed this to Eastern time because that's where I am. So 7 a.m. PST, usually we do things at 10 a.m. PST. So that's 7 a.m. PST, 2 p.m. UTC. We are going to go ahead and add the 10K here. And right now this button, the go button, is disabled. It'll be enabled, and you can go in. The math works right now. So you can go and do this right now. You can add 150, which is the exchange rate here. You can add, I don't know, whatever you want here. And you can see that these numbers activate, but it's not yet active. You won't be able to do it. For creators, yesterday we did a session on essentially being able to buy into the creator equity pool. So that will be available next week also. This coming soon will turn into an input box where you can put in a number, whatever number you want, and that number will buy you into the equity pool of your choice. Now, notice this eligible and ineligible here. So this just means whether everyone is eligible for general equity pool, But creator equity pool, the only addresses that will be eligible are ones that are associated with the creator vault. Right now, that is not wired up, so it will always say ineligible. But next week, it will be wired up, and then you will need to go with a wallet that is associated with the vault in order to be able to get into the creator equity pool. Otherwise, you won't be able to do that. All right, that's that. Let's move on with Vibe. More things to talk about. I'm really excited about this. Mike, you've been fielding a lot of questions from the community on this. Do you think, based upon what the information I've presented here, that we've addressed all those issues?
I think so. I think everybody was just anxious to get it going, and we apologize for all the delays with the APR staking. We tried to tell you in the beginning it was going to be a rough process because a lot of the contract couldn't be changed, and there were just a lot of loopholes, and then there was travels and stuff like that. So thank you for your patience for us to get all of this together. The good thing is that it's finally here, and I think everybody will be really happy.
Yeah,
and
I'm excited.
Yeah, as soon as the Vibe ran out last week, that was an exciting week.
Yes.
There was a lot of panic and with different people, which is understandable. But we knew that the Vibe pool was going to run out eventually, just based on the math that we did. So once that took place, I think the weird thing was it came from one holder and who finally was like, yeah, I'll do this. And it was just all gone. So it was pretty funny. But yes, we'll be replenishing the Vibe pool and getting some more in there. So those that want to participate will be able to.
Yeah, Mike, maybe we should take 2 or 3 questions in context as we are talking about our topic. That way we don't leave it too far behind.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Oh, you want to hit that one? Sure.
Oh, sorry. I thought, go ahead.
No, that's okay. Yeah, let's do this one.
We see the balance of the people already stake for Vibes.
So I think he's talking about the update in scope when you can see your Vibe staking. And I think that's what Eris is saying.
Yeah, so I think that's now available. That's what I just demonstrated. So we're good there. All right, I'll let you go ahead and select now. So that way we're not
sure
waiting.
So Nick, so if the 10,000 runs out, the other and only way would be the general equity pool.
Yes, we are at that point now where we are running out of Vibe. We are getting close to the 1 million mark, and that's it. That's the equity pool is the only way. Well, let me take that back. Marketplace. People are trading their Vibe, so that would be another way to acquire. Yeah.
Yeah. And so is the 10,000. I know you and I talked about a couple of different caps on the Vibe. Is the 10,000 the hard limit, or are we open to doing it in tiers?
We could do it in tiers. We'll have to see how things go, because the other thing is also we want to make sure that we have Vibe remaining for all the pools. We have certain pools we've allocated to. I just want to make sure that we don't get into a negative situation. So we'll play it by ear.
Okay, sounds good. The balance shows the staked amount without any earnings. Is that normal?
No, I took great pains to make sure that it shows the staked amount with earnings. So I'm perplexed by why you'll be seeing it without earnings. I guess there might be a bug. We'll have to check that out. But I looked again and double and triple checked the formulas, and it's always based upon current earnings. So I don't know. I would need.
Yeah, I think we have another one at Nick and Mike on the staking APR page. It's only showing the Vitruveo that we have before any interest gain APR. It's not showing our gains yet. Is this going to be an update soon?
Yeah, so maybe the contract is providing the right data, but it's not surfacing properly in scope. So I'll definitely check that out. It should be with partial gains. Yeah, we'll take a look at that and fix it.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like a lot of people are. That's the feedback that we're getting from a lot of people. So we got some questions about the Vortex NFT. When can we expect that airdrop? I know that it relates to Vibe, but
Yeah, we're doing an audit of that right now. It isn't clear who did not receive it right now. So I think we are down to a list of 40, and we have to validate that. So it's just a question of priorities. I needed to get this airdrop thing for the whole community done first. Now that that's done, we'll take a look at that 40, and it's just a matter of seeing which transactions failed and running them again. I'll commit to getting that done. I can't commit to getting it done by the weekend because Sunday is travel day back to California for me, but certainly by, let's say by Tuesday, it'll be done.
Yeah. Do you get the Vitru back from the general equity pool if you want, or is that like a swap for, or is that considered a swap?
Yep, it's a swap.
Yeah.
All right, let's continue and go. We can come back to some of these questions here. All right, so next up is DEX rewards. Now, this has been a big topic of discussion, so let's put some of the issues at rest here. So we want to reward liquidity providers and buys. So the liquidity provider is very easy. The solution that was proposed by members of the community, we've implemented that. We've not implemented that, but we are going along with that. We are going to have a DEX liquidity Vibe pool of 20K tokens, and your revenue share is based on your active LP status. So when you're active, you can claim, and when you're inactive, you cannot claim. Now, the buy tracking, where we had proposed for every $10 that you get one Vibe, but we got significant feedback from the community about people who would abuse or potentially game that. And it was getting too complicated. We're at the juncture right now where we got so many things going on, and we don't want to add things that are too complex. We want to keep rewarding the community and give lots of benefits, but this thing was getting out of hand. So for right now, we're going to call it deprecated. We will revisit it in the future because it is an interesting thing. But for right now, let's just hit the pause button on that. And we'll put a pin in it, and we'll get back to it. So yes, on the liquidity LP, but pause on the buy tracking right now. All right. And let's move on to the equity pools here. So just wanted to add one new little piece of information here to both the pools. We felt that to have the pool go on infinitely would continue to dilute it. We wanted to make sure we reward all the early adopters, folks who are coming in right now. So what we are proposing here, and would love to hear your feedback, is that we start off and activate the pool next week, but we cut it off at the end of the year, December 31st. We say, okay, that's it. Anyone who is in is in. After that, no more essentially participation in the equity pools. So we'd love to hear your feedback. Again, this is something we are contemplating right now. Mike, do you have any comments on that?
I don't think anybody's going to have a problem with that. It just means more revenue. But the longer it goes on, the more your share gets, diluted. So I think it just makes sense. So I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
But feedback is always appreciated and valued. So definitely, if you guys have, I know some of you might say day 3. But December 31st, I think is good through the end of the year.
Yep, that kind of gives us both the early adopters and the sort of early newcomers, if you will, because we're going to have some newcomers here, who are just entering, and we want to give them a taste of rev share and things like that also. All right, moving right along to Vortex. It's yours, Mike. Here we go.
Okay, yeah, let's go. Okay, so as you guys know, we're in phase 1 right now. We are in the land claim pre-sale development stage. So we're building the entire game. We're building the 2 parts. We're building the ecosystem, the gaming division of Vitruveo, and we're also building a proprietary game that is our game. In terms of the game, the storyline is almost complete. It's pretty cool. We've been working on this for quite a bit. It's almost done. White paper is in development right now, so that's going well. The marketing plan is in development for the Vortex land claim. We're exploring a lot of different ideas, not only with Warpcast, but also the Telegram gaming system. For those of you that are, Telegram is exploding right now with games, and they have a bunch of like little different micro games. So we're planning on doing a micro, kind of a scaled down version of the game that's going to have airdrops and that sort of thing, and then drive them to the actual game. So it's more of a marketing system and airdrop. We will be producing a landing page and a minting page, and both of those are in development. And the branding is also in development for both the game and the ecosystem. So that goes into logo design, assets, features, as well as teasers that we're going to use for the actual land claim launch. Phase 2 will take us, that will probably be anywhere from, realistically, it'll probably be by September 15th. We've given ourselves about a 40-day buffer to kind of get all of those elements done. Once we get that done, we will go into phase 2, which is the land claim launch. That's where we're going to be launching a full marketing campaign for pre-sales for the Vortex NFTs. The landing page will be rolled out with sneak peeks of features and assets, and it's going to be really cool. We've got kind of, we're having a video done. We're putting a lot of effort into this, so there should be some really cool things that we'll be able to show at that stage. There will be potential airdrops, leaderboards, land claim incentives rollout. The land claim will begin, and then the leaderboard will be released. So more to come on that. Phase 3 will be somewhat in between October, November. We're really not sure on the date. It really depends on the complexity of the game and how much we can get done. Obviously, we're starting with the final vision of the game and then deconstructing back and breaking that final vision into phases. That way, when we can roll it out in steps. And it's going to take some time to develop these things. And but we're thinking probably October, November, we can begin with season 1, which is super, super exciting. And again, we'll scale from there. So that's kind of an overview of where we are with the Vortex. We'll have probably some teasers next DAOload. I think we'll be able to at least share potentially a preliminary white paper. The storyline should definitely be completed by then. Marketing plan, we're going to hold that close to our chest until we get a little bit closer to launch. But it's coming together nicely, and yeah, I think we should have those things done by next DAOload. Yeah, so that kind of covers Vortex. Excellent.
I'm really excited seeing all the stuff in the background. It's really very compelling, Mike. You've done an amazing job, and I'm glad you're running point on this because it does need sort of steady leadership on there. So that's great. Really excited.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Moving right along, let's talk about dormant wallets. So I've made it a point to make sure that we mention it every DAOload so that it's very clear that the messaging on it has the announcement, the communication on it has been consistently out there. So what we wanted to do here is clarify exactly what's happening and make it easy to understand. So I put together a slide and also put together a little diagram for it. So here's what's happening. Any inactive abandoned core NFTs, the deadline for claiming is August 31, 2024. What that means is you need to go and make at least one claim on your Nexus or Maxim core NFT by August 31. So those are the only two classes of core NFTs that we are talking about here. The other ones are fine. If there is no claim against a core NFT by August 31, then the Vitruveo are automatically converted to Vibe General Equity Pool escrow. All right, that's an important keyword there. They basically go into holding, and the core NFT is revoked. So core NFT is gone at that point. Now, the original holder can appeal claim for an additional 30 days. So that means all the way in the month of September, they can come back and say, hey, I didn't want that. I didn't want my Vitruveo to be gone into the general equity pool escrow, and we will reissue the core NFT, right? So at that point now, we are at about almost a little over 60 days of notifications to people. Now, if you don't do that, what happens? Well, your Vitruveo has been converted into Vibe General Equity Pool escrow share, but that's dormant. you can come at any point in the future. It doesn't matter when. It's decentralized. You can go to the contract and activate that escrow, and then you will begin accruing Vibe earnings as normal. I want to be very clear that your Vitru has gone into a dormant escrow state. It is not part actively of the Vibe general equity pool, because that would be unfair to the other users and would be self-defeating. It would defeat the whole purpose of doing this exercise. So only if you come back in the future and indicate essentially proof of life will that escrow be activated, and then you'll start earning Vibes. So to make things easier to understand, I put together a little diagram here. So let's say you got a core NFT, you're user A, you have 100 Vitru in it. You don't claim by August 31. What's going to happen? Your core NFT is going to get revoked. It's just going to go away. It's going to get burned. All right. And instead, what you're going to have is an entry in a Vibe general equity pool escrow for 100 Vitru. So that means that you have the potential to have 100 Vitru worth of share in the general equity pool. Now, if you happen to come and appeal by September 30th, we'll reissue your core NFT and it's business as usual. At that point, you can decide what you want to do with it. It is still within the window of being able to buy into the general equity pool. So you might do that anyway, but it's your decision to make. Now, once your Vitru is in that escrow, at any time in the future, you can come and claim it, and then it will be active. It will be dormant until then. And that's an important thing to understand. It will not be active until you actually take an action. You come and say, okay, I want to activate this. And only then will you start actually earning from the equity pool. So we think this is a very fair process, and it really makes sure it balances the needs of people who are not at all active, versus folks who are here active. We want to make sure that the dormant wallets don't adversely impact everything we are building together. So this is a really good way for us to very fairly handle the dormant wallets. So Mike, do you have any comments on this?
Yeah, just to be clear, the balances on these wallets are very small. They're 1 Vitru, 10 Vitru. The vast majority of these inactive users are people that have either abandoned the project or they were just airdropped, at Genesis. So we don't think that this is going to create a lot of issues, but we definitely need to kind of purify our cap table and get our circulating supply in check, so that we have clear numbers and we know exactly where everything is allocated, what our core community is, where all the Vitru is allocated. And then that way we can prepare our new investor deck and get everything together for our VCs, for our SEX listing, basically for all of those things. So we need accurate data. And this is kind of the last piece of that puzzle to reduce circulating supply and kind of get some clarity on the community as a whole. Because obviously this has been, the community is, 2-3 years old, but this project is only 1 year old in development. And we just want to make sure that we have accurate data. And this is the last step, which is going to be very, very helpful. Yeah.
Great. Thank you. All right, moving along, let's talk a little about VUSD. Now that the staking as of tomorrow will be essentially done, we can move on to VUSD, which is the next topic. So I wanted to clarify there what we are doing in order to secure it and make sure that it works well. So last week we promised that the rollout of it would be commenced, and it indeed has. The scripts to export all the data from the collector credits are complete. The scripts to import them into VUSD are complete and ready to go. Now, what we've done in the VUSD contract is essentially given it some know-how. What we've told it is how to know when VUSD has been granted versus VUSD that has been purchased. So granted would be booster VUSD essentially. In the future, galleries will be granted, but that's about the only organization we expect to grant to. You will be able to purchase VUSD with credit card and other crypto very soon. And the contract will know which VUSD, how much, not which, but how much has been granted versus purchased in your particular wallet. And one of the things we are trying to do here is prevent abuse of the granted VUSD, where uh, unfortunately crypto investors are taking their family members, etc., and making them into artists and then buying their work for huge amounts of money. We don't want that. We want this to be a fair system. So here's what is going to happen with the VUSD. There's going to be a limit of $1,000 per creator vault for the granted VUSD. You can go crazy with purchased VUSD. If you want to buy an artwork for $100,000 with VUSD, you're more than welcome to. You just cannot do it with the granted VUSD. The granted VUSD has a limit of 1,000 per creator vault. So from a single artist, you can only buy $1,000 worth with your granted VUSD. You can also only buy up to five purchases from that creator vault. So both of those are in effect at the same time. So if the five purchases end up being for $200, okay, well, that's it. You're done. If they add up to $1,000, then one purchase, then you're done. So with this mechanism in place, we feel VUSD will also will go back to its original utility, which is to bootstrap the ecosystem. One thing I neglected to put on this slide is that the VUSD will also expire. So it's a use it or lose it on the grant. So I had the exact date on the prior slide. It doesn't come to my mind right now, but I'll be sure to update because when we roll this out, we will have another update and we'll clarify that. But so yeah, to prevent abuse, per creator vault limit, per vault number of purchases limit, and use it or lose it date. So we want all the VUSD essentially used to pick up all the artworks there are some amazing artworks out there. You should pick them up, and that's it. So Mike, do you have anything to add? You want to add on this?
No, I'm excited for this to roll out. I know this has been a really hot topic, and it's created some division in the OG and creator relations. And I really want to move forward to make sure that we have really clear guidelines, that can't be exploited. And I think that both the OGs and the creators are an integral part of the ecosystem. We need the creators, we need the OGs, we need new holders coming aboard. We need new creators. We need new art buyers. Everybody's has a really important part of the ecosystem. And I think, though, as we roll things out, things have to be tweaked because there are bad actors that will make exploits. We start to see that there's certain behaviors that kind of hurt the system. And so we have to make tweaks accordingly. And our goal is just that there's going to be cohesiveness. There's going to be a great synergy among the community as a whole. And I think this is one step forward to making that happen.
All right, moving right along. Vitrusuite. So on Vitrusuite, we have dark mode on search. So I don't know how many people have visited, but there we go. This is what it looked like. And here we have dark mode. And it looks really, really great. The artworks look really amazing there. And what I'd like to do here is also show you, actually, I should stay here, a cool new feature. So we've been talking about. So if you look right now on search, there are many artists who are essentially deploying collections there. Some of them have 10, 20 artworks. And that's great. We love that. We love that our artists are doing that. But what it does do is impact the discoverability. And so I'd like to show you in QA. This is not yet deployed. We don't do any deployments on Fridays. So usually when I show you things on Fridays, it's in QA. And on Monday, we'll deploy it and then it'll become live. So what I want to show you is, let's go to our QA, which is search.vitru.dev. We'll go there. All right. So this is test data. This is not real artworks. We just pulled some from there. But a cool new feature we have here is this checkbox here, group by creator. We check that and we transform the results into these beautiful stacks. You have a little number here that indicates how many there are. And we have a little animation that goes. And this is little groupings by creator. So you can go and see all the works of one creator just by clicking on them. And this allows you to explore that creator. Again, this is test data, so don't worry about the fact that it's not accurate, but it makes it super simple for you to go see that and discover lots. So even if there are artists who are consigning lots and lots of artworks, you can look at their style and say, oh, I want to explore that more, and dive into it without necessarily having to page through lots of artworks in order to see other artworks. So it's a really exciting feature. I'm really happy to have that implemented. We should be live with it next week. It's still in development, which is why it's in QA. But you can see we pretty much have it nailed down in there, and would love to hear your feedback about it. All right, so that is it for Vitru Suite, and now let's talk about creator level. So as you can see, we're doing several things to really address the usability and the security of our system. So I talked about VUSD and how we're going to address some of the things, but we also want to make sure that the artists and the artworks that are on our platform can be trusted. We want to make sure that buyers come there and have a good experience. And so we've introduced the concept of creator level. So this is very much like a credit score that essentially we will use a number of signals in order to be able to have to numerically give creators a score, and we can use that score in different ways. Now, this is actually a behind-the-scenes score between the creator and the platform. How it surfaces in the UI of applications will generally be through categorization. So we want to categorize artworks based on different creator levels. We aren't ready to talk about that right now because we are still designing the creator level system. And today what I want to do is give you some insights into the system we are designing. Now, I know that I risk losing all of your attention in the next few minutes based on the complexity of this, but I'm going to give it a shot, and I'm going to try and make it as easy to understand as possible. So let's go. So one of the first things that we strive to do here at Vitruveo is adhere to standards. Now, the W3C, which is the World Wide Web Consortium, that's the organization responsible for all the standards, HTML, how browsers work, how web servers work, etc. They have a standard called verifiable credentials. And this is a standard that's been around for a while. And what we are going to do is in our creator level system, we are going to essentially use the verifiable credential system. So this has basically two parts. We have the creator credential, and in that, this is something that the blockchain, meaning Vitruveo, is going to be the issuer of it. When you have a credential, someone has to issue it. Otherwise, what good is it, right? You can't just be issuing yourself credentials. That doesn't make any sense. There has to be an authority, an organization that issues it. So the creator credential is going to be issued by Vitruveo. And then there's the concept of creator claims. A claim in this context is any statement that a creator wants to make. So if you want to say, I graduated from UCLA in whatever year, or my work was featured in an exhibition in this city in this year, all of those are examples of claims. We'll go into more detail on that in a second. But looking down here on the left side under creator credential, we have two parts. We have a profile and we have KYC. So those are things that Vitruveo is going to help manage with the creators, and that contributes to your creator level. On the right side, with creator claims, we have two types of claims: on-chain ones, which are significantly easier to process because they are on-chain and can be queried by software. And then there are off-chain claims. So some of the things I talked about, such as, I was in an exhibition, or I graduated from a certain school and got a degree in art, or I was featured in a magazine, or I was featured in a museum collection, etc. Those are really, really hard things to objectively measure and bring back as a score. But we have a solution for that. Let's see how that works. So the creator profile that we are talking about, you can think about it almost as a decentralized resume for creators. This is what we are building towards. And ultimately, we think that other people will also want this. It doesn't actually have to be restricted to creators. There's nothing that specific to creators about it, but we'll start off with that way. So the creator profile consists of two parts: the creator credentials, as we mentioned. So this is your basic biodata. So this could be your name, your Twitter handle, your Instagram handle. Maybe you've got a link to your portfolio, etc. So all of that is part of your basic creator credentials, what we call profile, and your KYC. And we'll go into more details on that in a moment. Next part of it, which is the harder part, is the creator claims. As I mentioned, a claim can be anything. And what we're going to do is we're going to divide claims into categories. But let's look at what each claim has. It has a title. It has an on-chain or off-chain marker. Is this claim about some data that's on-chain? Are you claiming that you had a sale on Ethereum for 1 ETH on this date of this artwork? Or are you claiming that you were in a gallery and you were the featured artist in Paris on this date or something like that? So on-chain versus off-chain. And then there's a category. We have a list of those I'll get to. And then what is your claim? So some of the examples I gave were the claims. And then a claim has an evidence link. So we provide a mechanism for one link, but that link could in turn go to maybe a folder or a page that has many more links, etc. The idea is that if you are claiming something, you need to have a mechanism by which someone can verify that. And at minimum, they need one link where they can go and check that out. And associated with every claim, we have the concept of a bounty. Now, with every claim, Vitruveo, because it is of interest to our platform to build trust, will automatically have a small bounty. We are talking tiny amounts here. We're not talking huge amounts. We're talking maybe 1 Vitru or something. And depending on the price, that might change. But let's for the sake of example, say it's 1 Vitru. Now, the creator, if they wish, has the option to increase that bounty. Why? You'll see in a moment, because what we want is the claim to be verified as quickly as possible. Now, just like in blockchain, when you have a transaction, you pay more gas to have your transaction move faster. Here, the analogy is you pay a bigger bounty if you want your claim to be verified faster. Or you can pay nothing and leave the Vitruveo default one, and the claim will eventually get verified. So now claims must be verified by people we call claim checkers. So what we are building here is an ecosystem where we are creating jobs for people in the ecosystem. The bounty is divided among a super majority. That's 2/3 of the claim checkers. Now, the number of claim checkers that are required varies by category. So for example, if the category is education, this is something important. We don't want anyone to falsely claim academic credentials. So we will probably have more claim checkers on that one, versus if someone claims that they were published, I don't know, in a newspaper article. Well, 2 or 3 people to verify that seems reasonable, versus verifying an academic credential. So the number of claim checkers is going to vary based upon the category. Now, the claim can either pass or fail. It will fail if the quorum, the required number of claim checkers, and a supermajority of verification is not achieved. Let's look more into detail on that. Have I lost everyone yet? I'm going behind the scenes here, but this is a really important thing. No one else has done it. We are innovating here, building what is basically the world's first decentralized mechanism to build trust in creator profiles. All right. So who is a claim checker? A claim checker can be anybody. Anybody who knows how to use a web browser can be a claim checker. You must be KYC level 4 verified. We'll talk about levels in a bit. All right. So how do you go about checking a claim? Well, we're going to build a web UI for you where any creator who wants any claim that they want verified will post it. It'll be easy. You just fill out a form and hit go, and you're done. So all those claims will show up, and basically claim checkers, it becomes their job to go through these and verify them. And we hope that there will be a few that people in the community who will decide to do this full time. That would be amazing, because then we can have lots of claims verified. So the first thing you have to do is, in order to verify a claim, is you must stake some Vitru. Why is that? Well, we want our claim checkers to be honest. We want them to truthfully report on the verification of a claim. So, what you do is you use that evidence link and the information provided by the creator to go dig and determine if that claim is in fact true. And that's what you're being paid for. So, if the claim checker verification is the same as a supermajority, so let's say as an example that a creator has made a claim. I got a degree from the University of California, LA, UCLA. Now, there are three possible outcomes as a claim checker. You can say that it's true, it's false, or it's unverifiable. Now, if a creator has made a false claim, they're going to get some negative points. We'll get into that in a little bit. We are talking about claim checkers right now. Let's stay focused on that. So here's the thing. If you verify a claim and your result is not in agreement with the supermajority, then what happens is you forfeit your stake because you're basically being dishonest. But if you're in agreement, then what happens is you get your stake back immediately and you get your earnings of the share of the bounty that was placed for verification of the claim. So you do some work, the bounty is your payment for it, your share of it. But if you are dishonest and reporting incorrectly, you lose that stake. And so that is essentially your incentive to stay honest and make sure that you actually report the facts. All right. So how does the scoring on this work? Well, every creator level has a maximum of 10,000 points. For your profile, you have up to 1,000 points. And so we'll give individual profile fields each a value. So your name will have certain points, whether you enter your Twitter handle, your X handle, your Instagram, etc. Those points will all add up and it'll be 1,000. So if you complete your entire profile, you get your full 1,000 points. If you leave it partial, you have less. And then you have your KYC. Your KYC is worth 3,500 points. And there are four elements of it. There is your phone number, liveness. So this is essentially measured by the KYC provider that you're a human being and not a robot, an ID, and then finally a physical proof of address. So those are the four distinct levels. And then you have on-chain claims and off-chain claims. On-chain claims are worth 2,000 points and off-chain claims are worth 3,500 points. Now, as I'm going through these points thing, I want to point out that this is still a draft. Things could change. And our pattern is always the same. We present something, we get feedback, and then based upon what we learn, we adjust things. And things are no different here. I might get feedback from and ideas from the community which are too good to not implement, and we would change that. On the right-hand side, you see the categories that we are going to use here. So we have, and I would like to thank here Doc Martin, who was very kind enough to put a very detailed document on this, and a lot of this has been derived directly from there. So thank you, Doc Martin. I appreciate it very much. So we have sales metrics, exhibitions and fairs, gallery representation. Are you being represented by a gallery? What is your online engagement been like? Your education. Do you have a professional degree in art? Critical acclaim. Have you had reviews? Have you had stories written about your art? Have you had videos created about your art by third parties? Collections and patrons. Are you featured in a museum collection? Do you have certain top collectors who own your work? Have you had work that's been commissioned? What are your community activities? Have you organized spaces? Have you organized exhibitions, meetups, things like that? What are your professional affiliations? As anyone can see from here, these are not things that are readily verifiable. These are hard to verify, and it may be that some of them are impossible to verify. But what we have created here is a decentralized claim verification system, where we hope that given enough evidence, it becomes objectively possible to verify and score that. That's what we are going for. So that's the scoring system. So let's look at what the creator levels are based on that scoring system. So there are basically 5 levels. When you start off in Vitruveo Studio, you provide us with an email, and we immediately provide a one-time password in that email. So that's as good as verifying your email, right? So everyone is at L1 and you get 0 points. Sorry, you don't get credit for just verifying your email. You're at L1. All right. L2 to L5 are levels that you progressively go through based on earning more points. So if you go through KYC level with the phone check, you get 500 points. Plus, if you do things with your profile and you make some claims, etc., you can get an additional 1,000 points. So that's 1,500 points. Next level, to get the next level, you can do a liveness check on KYC. That gives you an additional 1,000 points. And you can do more claims. We have to work through the details on that. But essentially, you can get additional points for that. So this is progressively at each level. You get more points, and you're able to increase and go through the different levels, with the highest level being L5. And as I mentioned, we don't plan on surfacing the levels directly anywhere in the software, but indirectly they will impact things like the price levels you're allowed to market at without a warning, the categorization of the artworks in search and things like that. That's the levels will definitely impact that. Again, this is a draft. We're working through it. It's a fairly complicated system we are building, but we don't want to hold up and delay this for a long time, because the claims part in particular is quite complex. No one has attempted it because it is very difficult to do, but we are up for the challenge. We've already built some very challenging software, so we'll build some more challenging software. But here's how we are going to implement this. We're going to start off with the easy stuff. So we're going to start off with creator credential, where we get the profile done and the scoring for that done and the KYC done. So that's 1 and 2. We can get that done very quickly, I would say inside of a few weeks. And then we'll work on the overall decentralized claim system. We'll do on-chain first and then do off-chain. And in a few months, we will have a robust verifiable credentials system that implements creator levels. So that's the big plan here. And it is, as I mentioned, the first time that anyone has attempted to do something like this on a scale of this level. So we value your feedback. There's going to be a lot of feedback. And I wanted you to keep in mind one thing is we are not trying to stratify creators or anything like that. What we are focused on is trust. We want to make sure that as these artworks are available in marketplaces, because remember, it's not just NFTs. We're going to have streaming, we're going to have print, etc. We want to make sure that buyers can trust that the artwork is authentic, and the higher the creator level, the more we can trust that artist and that creator. And that's what we are getting to. So it's all about trust. So I'm sure there's lots of questions about this, and we'll continue to get your feedback. Mike, do you have any comments on this?
Yeah, I do. I think it's easy to kind of go through this and get a little overwhelmed, but you got to remember a lot of this is just behind the scenes. It's going to be kind of seamlessly integrated into the ecosystem. So I think OGs don't have to worry as much about this. It's more of just, hey, there's a process that is going to be in place. It's going to be kind of calculated and going through. We're going to go through it. So, but I just wanted to make sure, because I know that it gets a little heady, at the sky level. So that's all I wanted to make.
Yeah.
I'll be right back, Nick. I just have somebody at my front door. I'll be right back.
Sure. I'm gonna take you off the stream. Yeah. So when you peel back the covers and look under the hood, some of these things do get very complex, but when we surface it in the UI, etc., it's going to be very simple. It's going to be forms and buttons and pretty easy to look at. But yeah, so this is an important thing we are working on. We realize that it's critical to the success of the platform, and we are happy to implement that. So with that, we basically reached the end of this download. And as I mentioned, this link is broken right now. I will get that fixed. I'm going to leave that creator thing up there while taking some of your questions now. So let's see. Wow, we've got a lot of starred ones here. Why don't I start yeah, let's start with this one here. When is the Geth installation guidelines that work for us to run our own RPC be published? Currently installing from the Git, syncing in light modes is having issues. Yeah, so on all these issues related to validator nodes, etc., we defer to essentially the VTech team. So that's where I don't see us publishing these guidelines because it's the VTech team that really has all the scripts and things like that to quickly spin up nodes and etc. So I'll make it a point to bring it up, but that's where you would get that information from. Can we get finally clarification for the $10 DEX buys for? Yeah. So for right now, we are deprecating it. All that means is we're not actively focusing on that program. We are not killing the program by any means. I think everyone likes it and appreciates it. It just has become too complicated to try and implement that given the number of other things we are working on. So all we are saying is that back burner the buy thing for right now. But when we do have some time, give it, maybe next month, we'll come back and then we'll implement it. And all the data is on the blockchain. So we've always said that it's going to be from inception, right? From when the pair was created. So we'll go back and work on that. One of the things that someone pointed out that we also have to work through is the inventory. Do we have enough vibe available to be able to sustain the number of buys there? Would it be better for us to have the reward be into the pool? So these are complex things, and all of it requires analysis, etc. Which means when we are doing that, we're not doing something else that is more urgent right now. And the urgent things are that we need to do is do everything necessary to get to our next level of funding and get to SACs, etc. So these are benefits that are great. There are rewards. We definitely want to do them, but we are burnering this for right now. We'll bring it back, and when it's there, we'll go back and look at the data, and everyone will get their rewards. So just be clear on that.
Yeah, we also have some other things that are coming down the pipeline that we haven't really kind of gone into with the community. Things like promotional buy and hold promotions and all of these other things. It's just, I feel like for the last 3 weeks, all we've been dealing with is the APR staking and the VUSD. And it's like, my God, we have so much that we have to kind of push through to get to SEX listing, and we have to kind of hit the brakes. Let's get things released before we keep tacking on additional things. And I know that everybody wants to get to SEX listing. So just trust us that we're not going to abandon the whole that whole program. We just need to put a pause on it so that we can get some other stuff done.
Yep. Mike, I'll let you, since you start, I'll let you take the questions again. I think that's a good workflow we had going.
Yeah, let's do it. We've got 14 that are starred right now. Okay, this is definitely.
I did that one already.
Oh, you did this one. Okay.
The one I was on below that is where you go. I think the one from GD is the one you want to go with. We already did that earlier.
This one. Okay, the bonus vibes from our recent Vitru buys.
I don't know what that is.
Okay, Jaime, I know, Jaime, you're definitely in the audience, so if you can just clarify on that. Is the airdrop stake for Vitru 60 days, 90 day, 180, will it still be going? I believe yes, definitely.
Yes, but what's going to happen, in fact, even today, is the stake from the airdrop site is going to get yanked, and it's going to resurface in scope with a stake and an unstake button. So that's going to take a little bit of time to finish implementing, maybe like a week or so. So then it'll be resurrected, and then we will have the ability to have additional rewards and most importantly, that unstake button for people, because that was a problem there. So we're going to yank it from airdrop and put it back in scope.
Perfect. Going forward, how long will it take to get Vibe from minting the 2x Vortex, or is that still going to be a thing?
I think we we pretty much have to sunset that because we are running out of Vibe. So I need to go and look at the contract there and make sure that any notes on where you're minting the Vortex don't allude to that. So anything that's already been done, we'll go ahead and finish that up and honor it. But moving forward, we have to sunset that program because there aren't enough Vibe remaining.
Yeah. Okay. So the wallets in the escrow that come after September 30th to claim, their Vibe Rev will be sent to said wallet. Would they be able to still move if the wallet was compromised?
Yeah, see, we spend an inordinate amount of time and effort, development hours, cost, etc., on building systems to deal with compromised wallets. In this case, we are not going to go into extra measures here. These are a lot of wallets here with very small amounts, and we don't have the resources to invest in building things. So the wallet, if it's compromised, sorry, it's bad luck. We can't do anything about it, but it's going to be sticky. It's going to be the wallet that had the core NFT is the one that is going to be associated with the escrow.
What's the use it or lose it date for VUSD?
I mentioned it in the prior download, and as I said, it eludes me right now. We'll go back and look at it and put it in a minor update announcement.
Okay. Can the Vortex Live winners receive their airdrop before the VUSD airdrop next week? That was the spreadsheet that Arco put together for the
ones that messed up. But I'm failing to see the connection between this and the VUSD airdrop. Why are they?
I don't know the connection either, but I know that people keep asking about the that whole Vortex thing. So you and I are probably going to tackle that next week anyway. So
Yep.
They should look at this and do something with the Vibe folks that bought in good faith up to the time of the download. So can they receive the Vibe? Because we did launch last week the promotion, or 2 weeks ago, whatever it was, the buying for Vibe. And so they're just asking to see if that Vibe can get airdropped.
Well, we are not saying we won't do it. We're just saying we back burner it right now because it's getting too complicated to manage. So eventually we'll implement that program. So I don't think anyone should feel like we've given up on the buy for DEX. Just keep buying as normal, and we'll implement the program and get that done. Maybe it could be as early as a couple of weeks. We'll get that. There's just too much going on right now for us to deal with that program. It was becoming something where we got so much feedback about abuse and people circumventing that and all of that, and it's hard to deal with all those edge cases without creating a very complex smart contract. And so that's why we've decided to deprecate that for right now.
Yeah, it's really it can be really challenging because whenever we come out with a new strategy or a new incentive or promotion, the community does a great job of analyzing everything, and then suddenly there's an exploit, right? And then everybody kind of jumps on that bandwagon, and then we have to shift gears. And then we make a change, and then the other people are saying, well, why did you make a change? That's not fair. And then this part of the community says, well, no, this is fair. This is the way it should be. And then there's division in the community. And it's always this kind of going back and forth every time we make a change. And it's just the nature of development. But I think that's kind of the idea that let's just put a pause on this. Let's focus on, getting some of these other key milestones done so that we can get focused. Nick, please address the missing Vitru for those that sold their art for $2.50 to one Vitru and then later got far less than what the listing happened and still get less than that at the moment.
Well, now it's real time, so there is no less than at the moment. It's more or less real time. It's actually trailing the prior week is what it is. Trailing average for the past week is how we are pricing it right now. But we might change that to just real time. Basically, the Vitru you will get, the rate will be whatever is prevailing at the time of minting. That's what we are going to set it to.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how to address the first part of the question though, because in order for us to do that, we'd have to uh, identify if there was actually these situations. Because for the until until we launched the DAX, we were holding firm on that price on 250. So that's what people got. Uh, After the DEX launched, we locked in the price first at a buck 50 and then a dollar, and now it's at whatever price is on the DEX. So I need to understand the issue better and the impact of it, how many artists it impacted, and what the footprint of this issue is before being able to provide a solution for it. So
Mhm.
maybe that's something that can be a community discussion in Discord, or and let's get to the bottom of it. I, I'm
Yeah.
I'm happy to resolve it. Just need to understand what the breadth and width of it, breadth and depth of it is.
Yeah. This question, no idea, no ID, your thoughts. I think we had a question of someone saying, okay, well, what if I don't have an ID or something like that? I think that was the question, and because it was additive, they would be disqualified, during the KYC process. If I'm understanding that right, I think that's an outlier because I think 99% of the people have an ID, unless I'm misunderstanding that.
Yeah. So basically, you would be stuck at level 3.
Level 3, yeah.
Yeah. Now, yeah, because you do need that ID, the 1,000 points from it. Yeah.
And
That's
also because if they were, let's say, a minor or something like that, maybe a student ID or something like that, maybe we could do something like that.
Yeah, so I think in this process, what we need to do is have it's decentralized process, but what we can do is have really a council or a committee that deals with edge cases and can override it based on sort of a vote by all members of that council or something like that. So we would I think there is no system that is going to be bulletproof in that regard, right? There's going to be situations that we need to deal with that are exceptions, and exceptions in decentralized world are hard to deal with. So it could be that we have a policy document we create for this. So yeah, I
Yeah,
think we'll just have to tackle them as we come up with these problems. I don't believe we want to create a system where we deliberately lock people out, but we also don't want to have the system be so brittle that people can take advantage of it. So
yeah, yeah,
we'll create exceptions. I mean, um, and deal with them as we come with them.
yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
think that's good. Some people, there was some stuff on Discord yesterday, Nick, where people were concerned about price action and stuff like that. And can you speak to the circuit breaker and explain? Some people are asking, is there a floor price built into the circuit breaker? And so maybe you can kind of ease concerns on price, because some people think it's going to go to 30 cents or 10 cents or something like that. Did you want to speak a little bit about
Yeah,
that?
sure. The easiest thing, the thing I learned with with software is the source of truth is the code. Go look at the code. It's there
Mhm.
on chain, it's verifiable, it's verified, so the code is all there. The circuit breaker has nothing related to the current price or whatever. It's based upon the aggregate amount of
Supply.
wrapping,
Hmm.
and the per user wrapping. That's it. And based upon that, it indirectly impacts and controls the price, because as the price goes lower, it the period of time between your transactions increases, the amount of Vitru you can wrap um, decreases, and the aggregate amount you can do in an epoch also decreases. So because of that, it organically controls the price, and it's working as intended. And as we've pointed out in these downloads, it's not a long-term solution. We'll get rid of it in a couple months or so. But yeah, I think if the price goes lower, it becomes harder and harder to wrap, and uh, in that time someone will buy, and that takes the price back up. So you will see almost like a sine wave, organic sine wave, if you will, based on
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the way I've seen this, and I've tried to communicate this in Discord, is that the price really doesn't matter at this point. It's not a publicly traded, coin outside of the community. It really is an opportunity to pick up, cheap Vitru at this point until we build up to sex listing. And again, the price is going to do whatever the price is going to do leading up to sex list. So I'm not worried at all about the price on what it's doing. I care more about the features, the products, getting the system built out, and then in time, once we're ready to go, then we can do the big sex launch, which I think will be awesome.
Yeah. Here's a good question. For the KYC, what data protection measures are you putting in place for creators' information? None, because what we want is not to be the provider of the KYC. We defer that to a professional organization that is has all the credentials, etc., from governments, and does that. In this case, our partner is Synapse. That's synaps.io. So all they will report to us is the level. Whatever you've completed. They did phone, they did liveness, they did ID, or they did address. That's all we would know. So we have no requirement to protect any data, because we don't have any data to protect. Yep.
Yeah. Just a shout out to all the mods. Thank you so much again, guys, for all the work that you're doing and the support that you provide for the community. You guys are amazing. We've been having weekly mod meetings, and where we go through, all the different concerns, all the different suggestions, all the different questions, and then we put those into an action item. But I just wanted to say thank you so much to all the mods. You guys are amazing, and thanks again for obviously the community managers, and it's been a wild couple of weeks. So I'm really excited for the next, for what's coming ahead for Vortex. I'm excited to get the investor deck done. There's so many really cool things coming up. Would you be able to mention the Vitruvian art share, chill and chat space we're having on Sunday, the 25th at 11:30 Eastern, with Pam Both Photography, Southern Fried, Tina, Lane, and myself are hosting.
It's amazing. That is excellent. My dilemma is that I will be in the air at that time, headed back to California. So I wish I could attend that. I really wanted to, but I am sure you guys will have an amazing space. And I think it'll be a good opportunity for crypto investors to go there and hear about some of the artworks, etc., because it will inform your decision on which artworks to buy. Yeah. So thank you for putting that together. I really appreciate it. And hopefully the next one of these can be done at a time when I'm not airborne. And unfortunately, that just timing worked out that way, because I love attending these. I absolutely love to spend time on these spaces with artists.
Yeah, I think we something that I don't know if we've mentioned it yet, but we didn't really talk about the buying blitz today and the success of that, and over 800 creators that joined the live stream, which is phenomenal. And the purpose of that was really to not only stimulate activity in the creator community, but to really train and educate the creators on the staking and the staking for Vibe, and the equity pools, and really convert creators more into holders. And Nick did a great job on breaking things down. I chimed in for a little bit, but it was awesome. It was exciting. I was super jazzed. Pam, of course, was there and did such a great job presenting on her part. And we had a chance to use the grid, the video, the curate stack feature and search, and it was fun. I had a great time.
Yeah, I think we're gonna do that every Thursday, and I think it's a really good opportunity to demonstrate our features in action. In the software industry, there's a term called dog fooding, And dogfooding refers to using your own software to do things. Because if you won't use it, who will, right? And we intend to use all those to grow the marketing channels. That's our commitment to creators, that you don't have to do any marketing on Vitruveo. So how are we going to get there? Well, these stacks, etc., are the mechanisms we're going to get there, and to see them live in action is pretty amazing. I'm very happy that we were able to do that, and we'll do that again next Thursday. So please do join. Hopefully we can crack 1,000 next Thursday. That would be great.
Yeah. We'll do just one last one. This was regarding that previous comment about the connection between the Vortex and the VUSD. The connection to the Vortex Live is the VUSD is airdropped to the Vortex NFTs.
Yes. That's that will happen. Yes, it's part of the VUSD airdrop code. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's it.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. This was nice. It's the first time me doing this in Eastern time. I've done it in other time zones, so that's wonderful. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate all your feedback, especially on the creator level system, because we are fast tracking that and implementing it as fast as possible. So please give us your feedback, and otherwise, I'll be here online tomorrow morning, where the staking goes live, and we'll see how long it takes for that 10,000 to get cleared out.
Yep.
All right, dream
awesome,
on,
guys.
bye.
Bye, guys.